Hello and welcome along to your Saturday night dose of darts. Yes, it is finals night here for our Super 6 at the MODUS Super Series. Joining me to assess, analyse and at times entertain is Mr. Matthew Edgar. And we've had some entertainment this week, haven't we?
Oh, what a week this week's been. We've had literally everything, haven't we? We've had the 170 finish, we've had Graham Usher finishing bottom of one group and then qualifying through another. The consistent brilliance of Gary Stone. It's had everything but a 9-darter so far.
He's a hard man to please. Well, let's see who our finalists are and how they got to finals night tonight. Henry Deacon will guide you through the runners and riders.
James Richardson needed to win his final game to qualify through Group B. He did exactly that, getting the better of David Cameron to progress his way through to finals night. Meanwhile, for Graham Usher, it was a case of getting better as the week went on. Bottom of Group A, but he progressed his way through second in Group C. Meanwhile, Paul Hogan was the man to beat in Group B, and it was big finishes that helped him along the way. As for Gary Stone, he narrowly missed out on a spot in Group B, but in Group C, he was the man who topped the pile and is one of the favourites going into finals night. As for Josh Payne, it was scoring power in the first 3 days that helped him, then the doubles got better. This 1-4-4 helped him out against Andy Jenkins. Meanwhile, the Group A glory was Gian van Veen. He was the first player to book his way into the field for Saturday night, and he got this big fish against Josh Payne in the game that sealed progression.
Yeah, what a finish there from Van Veen. What a finish to the action yesterday. Group B was incredible, unpredictable. We went into the final 3 matches and we didn't know any of the players that would be through. But who has impressed you most this week in qualifying?
It's got to be Gary Stone. He's been consistently brilliant. Ridiculous 180, 45 180s, 29 in Group B, 16 in his Group C campaign. Ridiculous amount of 180s. He's got that power scoring, which is going to be a danger against anyone. He's got that consistent brilliance as well. He doesn't have a big range of performance from his best to his worst. He's been consistently good all the way through. And Gary Stone, for me, is getting through Group 2 for sure.
He's in Group 2 with James Richardson and Josh Payne. Richardson, out of all the players, was the one that left it the latest. Do you think he is the least likely to get through?
You say left it the latest, he left it as late as physically possible. It was a very, very last leg, and it was a breaker throw against David Cameron that saw him through. 1 dart in hand, while David Cameron was waiting to put him out. So, very much so. But we didn't see anything from James Richardson in that level of performance from him. I wasn't impressed with the throw. It looked like it was breaking down at times. It was very floaty. He was getting no extension of the arm. I think he's very vulnerable in that group.
Yeah, Gian van Veen, Paul Hogan and Graham Usher in Group 1. That could be a more difficult one to decipher. So we've got some help for you. Here are the averages from this week for all of the players involved. Stone stands out again. Richardson stands out for other reasons again. But what about those 3 players I mentioned in Group 1? What can you take from there? Because it's Hogan who's got the best average.
Hogan does have the better average, but I think one of the real key things in there is that 88.13 from Josh Payne. When we look at the amount of legs that he's played this week, 128 legs. Now, we know from Josh that he's had a couple of days this week where he's really struggled on the outer ring, and that's pulled that down. If it wasn't for a day or two where he really struggled, I think one of the days he was down at 20%. If we just tighten that up a little bit on that day, he'd be on those 90 as well. And when you've played as many legs as he has, and that's why Gary Stone stands out. That's why Gary Stone's so impressive, because the amount of legs he's played, but he's top of the averages.
Well, Graham Usher is involved in the first match. He's going to take on Gian van Veen, the winner, of course, of Group A. He's had a couple of days off, and he joined Graham Usher for a chat with Henry earlier this evening.
Gian, Graham, welcome to finals night here at the Super Series. Gian, let's have a chat with you first. You won the group on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Have you spent your couple of days off?
Well, Wednesday I just had a relaxed day, just took the day off and really relaxed. Yeah. And yesterday I went to the pub next door to have a quick practice and just really enjoyed the 2 days off. Well, 2.5 actually, because it's now later than we were playing on Wednesday. But no, I really enjoyed the 2 days off. I think I needed it, and I'm ready to go again tonight.
Sorry about that lack of sound on that interview, but we will try and get that fixed now, and you should be able to hear from Gian van Veen and Graham Usher.
Gian, Graham, welcome to finals night here at the Super Series. Gian, let's have a chat with you first. You won the group on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Have you spent your couple of days off?
Well, Wednesday I just had a relaxed day, just took the day off and really relaxed. Yeah. And yesterday I went to the pub next door to have a quick practice and just really enjoyed the 2 days off. Well, 2.5 actually, because it's now later than we were playing on Wednesday. But no, I really enjoyed the 2 days off. I think I needed it, and I'm ready to go again tonight.
Graham, we saw brilliant stuff from you in Group C. It felt as if you kind of grew as the week went on here.
Yeah, I needed to. Slow start. Always known that there's a second chance. But yeah, my game's improved and improved and improved. So hopefully it carries on when I play Gian.
Hopefully not, no.
And of course, you two are the first game on this evening. How imperative when it's a sprint in this format is it to get off to a good start?
Yeah, of course it's very necessary to get off to the good start, because if you win the first game and then your opponent loses his second game as well, then you're automatically through, and you've got the third game really to. Of course, you want to become first in the group, but then you're through, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, it's very important to win that first game.
Your first experience of a crowd in this arena, looking forward to it?
Yeah, of course. I don't know how busy it's going to get, but I'm really looking forward to it, yeah.
And as for yourself, Graham, you've been in this Saturday night set-up at the Super Series a couple of times before, so you're quite well versed to what this environment brings.
Yeah, it's good. Like it with the crowd in. A bit more noise, a bit more of a general sort of background noise. You're not listening to little things going off. But yeah, I love it here. I love it.
Well, gents, we wish you all the best. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Right, the first fixture of the night sees Dutchman Gian van Veen take on our Series 1 runner-up, Graham Usher. The pair have played 3 times this week already, both played in Group A. Van Veen winning all of those matches, but in Champions Week, Usher doubled down with victories against the Dutchman. Talking you through tonight's action is Matthew Edgar, and a man who knows all about winning here on Finals Night. A very good evening to Chris Mason.
Thank you, Murph, and good evening, everybody. A really exciting lineup for you this evening, starting with Group 1, and it is Van Veen against Usher. And as Murph mentioned there, their first 2 meetings went to this man, although all three this week going to Gian van Veen. What do you fancy in this one, Matt?
I think it's going to be a tight one to predict all the way through the night, really, when we look at what we've got in terms of the players and the terms of the performance that we've seen from them all week. There's no real standout runaway performer, as mentioned up at the top, that Gary Stone is very good for that level of consistency. James Richardson a little bit cut adrift at the bottom. But in terms of who I fancy in this game, I actually fancy Graham Usher here, although Gian won Group A. I just felt like things was breaking down a little bit for him in that one, where Graham Usher has really grown into the group and into the tournament. If we look at their positions in Group A, this is top v bottom. Van Veen won Group A. Graham Usher finished bottom of the group. He won 3 matches in that group, averaging just 84.58. That is not Graham Usher. Graham Usher's more like we saw in Group C, 89.91, 12 180s. And 80. I know you wasn't here at the start of the week, but if I told you that Graham Usher played 3 days in Group A and took out 1 tumpless finish, you'd I was lying.
Well, especially when you look at his previous here at the Super Series. He has produced some monstrous finishes and some huge performances.
82.
9 data, of course. And this kind of tempo and rhythm should suit them both. They both like to get on with it. Nice little crowd in this evening. Don't forget, if you fancy joining us, it is absolutely free.
100. Graham, you record 160.
Unique experience.
83.
This last one.
Gian, you require 98.
To put this 98 under a little bit more pressure.
$60.
Best feeling
Graham,
in a dark
requires
match.
77.
Well, there's 2, isn't there? The first one is winning your first leg, and the second one is winning the match.
58 left.
Yeah, you like to win the first and the last.
57. Gian, you require 38.
There is huge pressure on this opening game. Opts to split.
Game shown the first leg.
It's not a pretty leg.
Gian van
but it is a
Veen.
hold to throw for Gian. One missed at tops for Usher. And that
Second leg, it's Graham
really
to throw
stemmed
first.
from that
Game on.
poor visit from 160. He was in such a good position and threw a real wild final dart into treble one. Even a single 20 there would have meant 2 at tops rather than just the 1, and that's a totally different mindset.
He had to burn a dart there, didn't he? And you mentioned something there as well, which kind of Henry touched on as well, which I thought was a really good way of putting it. Sprint. That's what this is. This is a sprint. All week, these guys have been taking part in a marathon where you lose a game, it's okay, we've got time to recover. You do not have time to recover tonight.
No, you lose that opening match, and you are right under it.
85.
Not only do you have to then win your remaining match, you have to rely on other results. And
180.
it's a second max in the leg. Well, this is like comparing apples and oranges to leg 1, isn't it?
100. When you require
81
81.
after 9 for Usher.
49.
There he has grew into the week. I gave you the stats and the numbers. Even with the 180s. He had 9 180s in a 3-day group. 12 180s
71.
in a
When you
2-day.
require 32. Game shown the
Impressive man
second
in
leg.
terms of
Graham Usher.
180s has been Gary Stone, 45 for the week already. I thought I went well one week and I had 41. But 45 and he's got a night
Gian
to
to
go.
throw first.
Yeah, I do expect to see a few more 180s from Gary Stone today.
And he's the 3-1 favourite to win
57.
tonight and take the £5,000 and a place in Champions Week.
45.
See, how do you assess Gian van Veen? So I think going through Group A might be a hindrance. The reason being, I've not been impressed with
60.
the action, and I feel like it's breaking down a little bit. And I think 2 days would have been more like 2 days to ponder, because he alluded to it
60.
himself in his interview. He knew he wasn't playing well. He knew he didn't play his best. Well, we know what his best is. He's reached a Pro Tour final. He's won Challenge Tour events. Have them 2 days off going to be more of a hindrance to him? Because he's just had that processing time.
100.
Yeah, I think thinking time's probably one of the worst things to have as a player.
99.
Just having all of that time to just think about not necessarily what went right, but what went wrong. And there is so much
43.
going on in that throw. And I think it's one of those that there's no B and C. It's very much A to Z
100.
with him. And this match so far, a perfect example, averaging. I'll tell the average after that 180. 78.56 now. Well, we've seen his performances
100. Jan requires
in the
61.
PDC, and he is very, very capable.
57.
Very well thrown darts.
Randy require
Keeping the
97.
wire on both occasions. Now this would hurt.
41.
Well,
Jan require 4.
Sloppy, I think, is the word we can use there.
erratic.
Game shown the third leg.
Just felt like the
Gian
leg was
van
already
Veen.
over. It is over now. But you mentioned about Gian and the A game and what he can do. What he has done
Well,
this year
it's
when he's been
Graham to
given a
throw
Pro Tour
first.
call-up on the basis of winning a Challenge Tour and reaching a Challenge Tour final, his running average on the Pro Tour is
41.
94.
Yeah, that just shows you what he's capable of. He's hit some huge averages in the process, which is why that average is so high. But there is just so much going on, and there's a lot of fingering going on,
41.
and there's a lot of doubt.
Doubt. That's a good word.
58.
Doubt in the throw. I like that. I think that's the best way to put it, because I've been doubting it throughout the week. I think it's very unreliable. Like you say, when it works, it works. He missed probably
121.
70% of the Pro Tour season, but he still made the Players' Championship finals at Minehead. That just 1 week ago, he played
140.
Ross Smith.
Yeah, he very nearly got himself in the Worlds, didn't he? I mean, for me,
100.
and although there's plenty to question in there, but at times I've looked at him as one of the most
58.
improved players, because, you know, in 12 months he's come from absolutely nowhere.
Oh, without a doubt. You look at his challenge tours at the start of this year.
87.
He lost 9 matches in a row in the first round phase. It
Yep.
took him till event 10 before he won a game, where he actually picked
100.
up prize
January
money, and then he won event
152.
12.
Yep. Prior to that, of course, spent a week down in our old venue in Southampton, didn't he?
100. Grammy record 104.
I was on that same week, and I don't think it'd be
80.
harsh to say all the players
Johnny
on the
McGuire,
fact at the time when he went
52.
on a 9 first-round losing streak on the challenge tour thought he might have been the whipping boy.
Far from it.
20. Grammy required 24.
For a level game.
Game show on
That's a
the
beautiful
4
dart.
flag. Graham Usher.
What 4 holds of throw. All very friendly at the
5th leg
moment.
is Gian to throw first. Game on.
You know, you mentioned there that was a beautiful dart. I think that was actually a class dart, that one, because you could tell him from the reaction of
60.
Graham Usher, he didn't fancy that he was going to be able to find a way through there. He moved over to the side to try and open up the bed, but even then, he had those darts, and the way his darts going in that
140.
angle, that would have just been like a bouncer. That could have been a problem.
Yeah, he had to throw a very, very clean dart, didn't he?
60.
Couldn't afford one of them sort of flappy ones. Is he about to make his
100.
move? Averages 84.47 Usher, 75.28 for Gian van Veen.
93.
That's the fourth match in the
180.
match. Column is led 3-1 to Usher, and he's about to go 3-2 up.
58. Grammy require
first time.
81.
Down to 81 after 9 this time.
Game show on the
Nails it.
5th
An
leg.
11 dart breaker
Graham
throw.
Usher.
Timed to perfection. Looking at the Van Veen game, he was only going to get away for it for so
6th
long,
leg, it's
averaging
Graham to throw first.
mid-70s.
Game on.
Yeah, you mentioned at that start of the leg when we said about that Graham Usher dart as double, he didn't want one of those flappy ones. That was one of those flappy legs, really, for Van Veen. He only managed to
66.
find one major treble in 12 darts. That isn't going to cut it against someone like Graham Usher. You are going to get broken at some point. Eventually, that luck is going to dry up.
60.
Won't cut it down the red line on a Tuesday night, pal.
100.
He understands the predicament.
Well, you heard him in the pre-match interview, didn't you? Mention about that
140.
opening game when he says, "Oh, you don't want to lose it. If you are going to lose it, it has to be 4-3. You have to get those legs on the board."
60.
Well, you give yourself every chance. If you do lose, just lose by that odd leg.
140.
60, back-to-back 140s.
121. January
How big
161.
could that be?
This is a quality response from Gian, to be fair.
137.
He was boxed into the corner and he's come out
Grammy require
windmilling.
154.
He has come out swinging. Treble 18. Ooh. That would have been giving him a dart at tops for the match.
81. January required 24. Game show on the 6th flag.
13
Gian
darts,
van Veen.
absolutely under it to break back is quality from Van Veen. I doff my cap.
7th and final against Gian to
And
throw
let's not
first.
forget, he opened that
Game
leg with
on.
a score of 60. After the last leg, only finding one treble in 12 darts, to open with a 60, that's one treble in 15. It would have been so easy at that point just to start letting the demons creep in.
It was a 10 dart 4-4-1.
85.
Like that from Usher, just resets.
26.
Van Veen going to pull this one out of the fire. He looked in all sorts of trouble.
121.
But 7 points on his average.
100.
One thing we know about Graham Usher is he's not just going to roll over and let Gian run to the line. He's going to chase him down all the way to the finish.
41.
And hope that an opportunity like this presents itself.
Yeah, 2 treble visit here. I'll get him right back in the lag.
41.
That was not what was required.
$140.
Does put absolutely everything to that last start, doesn't he?
140.
6 starts at
And
114.
114.
So in the opening match of Group 1 and put himself in a very good position. Tops.
94.
Nothing Graham Usher can do here from 194. Cross his fingers and hope.
Oh, we're in church, maybe he'll get his
94.
Bible out and pray.
January required 20.
For 10 to wrap it up 4-3 after trailing 3-2. And he
Game shot
finds
on
it.
the match.
Finishes off
Gian
the
van
match,
Veen.
winning back-to-back legs in a combined total of 29 darts. Finishes with an average of 82.7. And Graham Usher finishing with an 87.27. But the 2 points goes to the young man Gian van Veen. When we come back, we go into Group 2, and it'll be Josh Payne against James Richardson.
Welcome back. Well, it was Dutch delight in the first fixture of the evening as Gian van Veen got the better of the gambler Graham Usher, 4-3. Deciding leg victory for the Dutchman. Usher actually had a better average, 5 points higher than that almost of his opponent. 3 out of 8 on the doubles for him, 4 out of 12 for Van Veen, who gave himself more opportunities. And that is a big win for the Dutchman, winning the opening match of Group 1 and carrying on a fantastic record against that opponent this week. Now then, attention turns to Group 2, and it is a meeting between 2 players who played in Group B this week, Josh Payne and James Richardson. They had differing fortunes, but they are both here, and Henry Deacon caught up with them both earlier on.
James, welcome to finals night. It was a really tight and dramatic Group B. It went down to the final game. Let's first off talk about that and the nerves you felt in that.
Well, going to the last game, I thought I was out. I didn't even look at the table. And then, obviously, I won the game and Owen said he through, and I went, nah. So I thought David had got through. I thought David won more games than me. It come down to it, he never. And I just couldn't believe it, yeah.
Does that make it a little bit of a free hit then for you tonight?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm ready for it. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm trying my hardest. I mean, last time I come down here, I never made Saturday night. I'm through now, so I've got to make the most of it.
I know you watch this competition a lot away from playing in it, so what's it actually like to be a part of this Saturday night setup instead of actually watching it at home?
I've just got to make the most of it tonight, Emmy. You know, probably be the last one because we've got Q School coming up. So I've got to make everything count tonight, every dart count. You know, it's we've got to go for it.
So does that make going out on a high and try and win the 5K a high priority, maybe a higher priority?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, everybody's chasing the 5K. I want it. Yeah, but just got to, you know, play my game. Don't put too much pressure on myself and just let them go.
We wish you all the best, James. Good luck.
Thank you.
Josh, welcome to finals night, the 6th day of action for yourself. Just describe the week so far from your perspective.
Well, the beginning of the week, my scoring was there, and I felt really confident. And then the Thursday and Friday, sort of scoring went away a bit, and I focused on trying to hit my doubles a bit more. And then I think I've got to find a bit of a balance tonight, but I'm playing well enough.
And tonight it's even more important to find that balance because unlike early on this week, we got a little bit of time to ease into your evenings. Only 2 games in the group, so you're on it from the get-go.
Yeah, like you say, you had a bit of time, like a few days to sort of warm up a little bit. I feel warmed up. Tonight is a completely different night, and tonight's when it matters, really. So hopefully I can get it all together.
How important is it for you to win a group? Because you've come runner-up a couple of times before. You got into Champions because of it, but how important would it be for you to get there on the merit of winning a week outright?
Well, I've won a week outright before, and Champions Week, but just not here. So, you know, I'll just treat him exactly the same, and we'll go from here.
Wish you all the best, Josh. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, this is the nightmare opener for James Richardson. He's played Josh Payne on each of the last 2 nights, and not only has he lost both matches, but hasn't won a leg. Will that change here? Let's find out with Chris Mason and Matthew Edgar.
It's incredible, isn't it, when you think that James Richardson's not been able to win a leg in this fixture. But Josh Payne, like he alluded to there, and I've mentioned this a couple of times this week, we've never really seen the complete version of Josh Payne. We've seen parts of it. You mentioned there that the doubles wasn't really working for him at the first part of the week, but yet in Group A he still averaged over 90. And then he went into Group B, which was Thursday and Friday night, and his doubles was there, 38%. We say 33 is the base mark. He went 5% over that. Thursday, he had 58% on his doubles for the day.
Yeah, that's stunning.
But yet he averaged 84.34, which just shows you there was so many treble-less visits, which you feel he needs to tighten up. But
Hey,
does he
first
need to tighten that up tonight? James
first.
Richardson certainly needs to
Game
tighten up
on.
a lot. The best we've seen from him so far this week is 88.93. We're running average of 82.65. And this game was actually in my prime picks,
140.
was my 5-1 accumulator I had this evening over on the Greyhounds, and I think there's a bit of value here at Josh at 4-6 on the
100.
basis of everything we're seeing this week.
Well, you just look at their previous. In fact, Josh Payne's won their last 3 meetings, just dropping 3 legs in the process.
134.
Had 3 other meetings. 2 of those were won by James Richardson, but they were very early in the year, and James was playing a lot better then than he is now. In my, well, not in my opinion, statistically, he was playing a lot better then. But yeah, it's all about Josh getting every element
121
to peak at the same time.
But in his interview there, he's
aware of it.
Yeah, he was aware of that, but also he was aware of what tonight is. Tonight isn't a group, it's not a marathon. He said in his own words, this is where it matters.
Well, it's pretty much knockout darts, effectively.
Josh require 106.
Which is what we all prefer to play. It's very hard to play knowing that a defeat isn't
58.
the end. You have a completely different mental approach.
It just gives you a bit of comfort, doesn't it? And you don't want comfort.
No, we don't. We operate in a knockout game when you get yourself into a comfortable position, and then you can really start to express yourself.
32 scored, yeah.
I think the way he's going to fix his doubling problem, he's going to hit 2 doubles to win a leg rather than 1.
32.
Nearly. But it's been such a dominant leg in terms of scoring for Josh. James is way back on 200.
180. Josh requires 16. Game shown the first leg.
Steady enough.
Josh Payne.
Steady enough. Hold a throw. 17 darts. So James only had 15 darts in the leg.
Second leg is James to throw first.
He's very much one of those kind of players that plays in streaks. When he's absolutely on it, he can put games together and go on long and beaten runs, but he also has that other side of the coin where we've seen him go. Oh, in 1 week we've seen him go 5 from 5, winning, 5 from 5 losing, 5 from 5 winning.
It's not like he's not coming here with no form whatsoever. He has recently just won the ADC European Championship, beating Kevin Painter for that one. You know, Kevin doesn't back down too easy in a match, so he must have had to have gone some to get that victory.
Yep.
96.
We do have some belt matches here next Saturday, I do believe. Looking forward to sitting in the crowd and watching that. Much better lag in terms of scoring in this one from Richardson. Ton 121 and a ton. Love a 140 to leave tops after 12. Ooh, very nearly.
100.
Even our referee Owen Binks needed a second look.
In the last leg, James Richardson asked the question of Josh Payne. He hit a 180.
180.
Josh Payne returns the favour. Josh had the answer. Does James have the answer? Tops for a level game.
Game shown the second leg.
What a dart that was.
James Richardson.
Outstanding from Richardson and under heaps of pressure. 2-0 down in a race to 4.
Third leg is Josh to throw
sorts
first.
of trouble. It's good for the averages though when that happens.
I just love the way that they both asked the question, and the big question, the 180, and have gone, are you good enough? Are you on it tonight? Can you take this opportunity? And to be fair to James Richardson, that opportunity looked like it might have gone the way those darts had sit in the board. There wasn't much to go at, and you could see the angle in which the dart entered.
I'm not sure how much he knew about that. It was one of those you sort of don't quite shut your eyes, but it feels like it, doesn't it? You know where the weight of the double is, and you just sort of crash it in and hope for the best, because it actually went above the blocker.
60.
And the point was sort of over to the side, which just again just shows it was a bit, like say, throw it over the top and
134.
Not taking anything away from that dart, though. It was an absolute brilliant dart.
121.
Fortune favours the brave. Now he's put in Payne under pressure.
One thing we
96.
also learned from that interview was James Richardson's intentions. Mentioned Q School there, and by the interview, it sounds like he's confident on getting himself through.
145. Joshua, 135.
That mentality. Oh, hang on. Bull for a beauty.
Game shot
what
on the third
a finish
leg.
that is.
Josh Payne.
A 15 darter and a 135 on the ball. Just a hold.
Fourth leg is James
Yeah,
to
it's
throw
interesting
first.
because if I'd have
Game
played
on.
like James Richardson this week and you asked me about Q School, I'd be going, I ain't got a chance. I'm playing terrible. Yeah, he's not phased by
60.
what happens in the past. He's focused on the future.
Well, the short-term form is not affecting the long-term goal.
No, which is, well,
100.
Well, it's something we tend to do, isn't it? Either not just darts, but sportsmen in general, or when we talk about sport, we are so short-minded in the fact of, oh, well, that didn't go really well, so that
140.
can't happen.
yeah. Well, I think because we've got so, like the sport is about numbers, and we tend to look at those numbers,
58.
and that sort of gives us a relatively honest form guide.
That form guide is getting ripped up and
180.
thrown out the window. James Richardson averaged 82.65 over 8 games with the best of 88.93. He's now averaging 107.
James require 121.
Nearly 20 points on his best performance. This is staggering.
It's a really
And I suppose
good
that comes
cycle.
down to the mentality of how
98.
he, his thought process.
Yeah, there's something to be learned
Yeah,
from there in terms of what James is doing. You know, it's
I wish I could be like that.
96. James require 23. $15. Joshua require
Well, Gary
147.
Stone took out one of these, didn't he, in the week? Hello. Double 18.
Game shot in the fourth
and in the last leg he took out a 135 on the
Payne.
ball. He's backed that up with a 147, but the most important thing about that 147 was it was a break of throw. Josh
leg is
Payne
Josh to
is
throw
on it in this
first.
game. He said
Game
in his
on.
interview, didn't he, before this game even started, tonight is where it matters, and he has stood up.
100.
It's not like he's pulling the finishes out because he's being outscored, because effectively he's not. But this is
180.
absolutely brilliant from both. Look at those numbers. Credit to James Richardson
123.
for finding this performance.
He's finding this performance, but he's still walking into one. If he was to lose this leg,
85.
he would be in serious trouble tonight, despite the fact he's averaging 104.
Yep. And he's going to have to
58.
hope on other results going his way, and then producing a blockbuster performance.
100.
He will be playing the favourite to win this week, Gary Stone, in his next match. Not quite sure how much he'll get out of that.
60.
It doesn't get any
James
easier,
require
does it?
136.
That was always a great-looking finals night. So far, it's not disappointed.
96. Joshua require 160.
Oh, for a third big ton plus finish. Could have stayed, I suppose.
80. James require 40.
Talk about digging deep. You've just been hit with a 135. You just had an unexpected 147 when you was ready to pounce.
Game show on the fifth leg.
And then you respond
James
with a 14
Richardson.
dart breaker throw of your own. James Richardson was literally facing, well,
Super leg is
almost
James to throw
unassailable
first.
position, really. If
Game
you lost that
on.
one 4-1, then you've got to come out against Gary Stone and look for a massive victory against him. That's not a position you want to be in.
Well, you'd be looking to
125.
win 4-1 or 4-0, wouldn't you? It's just the mentality is miraculous from
60.
James Richardson. I certainly, after looking over the numbers and watching him play this week, feared the worst for him.
81.
But he was full of beans, thinking this may be his last performance.
It was nearly his last performance last night.
Yeah.
He was literally
58.
the last leg. David Cameron sat on a finish. James Richardson wanted 86. And he found a way, one dart in hand. He got over the line, got through at the very, very last opportunity. And he said in his interview, it's almost like a bit of a free roll here tonight because he thought he was out before he played David Cameron.
100.
Well, he's far from out of this one. Josh Payne will be still favourite to win the match. He will have the honour
43.
in the decider, although he'd love to fill this up. 180 to Richardson's 3.
140.
That was minimum, wasn't it?
Yeah, it just asks the question of James Richardson, the seesaw of darting pressure.
100. Joshua 143.
92 is no gimme. Still needs to find a treble to get to the double.
59.
Unless he goes
James
for the ball.
92.
Win aggressive. Another one of those. Doesn't like the lie. He's got to pick an end.
56.
And shows
Joshua Quire,
the high
84.
end.
The way Josh has been wrapping up legs, you would not be surprised to see this go. He's got 2 darts for the match. 1 left at the sixes.
78.
2 match darts have come and gone
James
for Josh Payne.
36.
To take us all the way.
Game
Uses
show on the sick flag.
that first
James
start as
Richardson.
a bit of a guide, a bit of a feeler. And it is Richardson who levels
7th and
things
final
up.
against Josh to throw
With a
first.
20 darts
Game
over
on.
2 match darts. Or Josh Payne.
Although we didn't get the best of James Richardson yesterday, we
41.
did see a lot of resilience. He was 3-0 down in one of his games yesterday and managed to turn that around and win 4-3. This one's
60.
not as big of a task. He was only 3-1 down. And essentially, it doesn't really matter what's happened in the last 6 legs now. It's all about these 501 points.
95.
Yep, a 1-leg shootout.
$100.
Where does this confidence come from? I'm amazed. Almost baffled.
140.
Is that the moment?
So unlucky as well. That could have so easily have been a 140.
So it was a moment that Josh Payne is going to see as an
60.
opportunity, although that little slip into the 7s has left him on a non-finish. But you feel this has to be full. Might be.
It is.
180.
The single 19 would have left Josh on 167. Got to go ball here, surely.
65. James require 101.
Ton plays 101. Oh, he's missed the big number.
93. Joshua require 100.
This would be punishment with a capital P. P for Payne.
80.
4 match darts come and gone for
James,
Josh
you
Payne.
require 8.
James Richardson could steal this one.
4.
4 for Payne. 3
Josh
for Richardson.
require 20.
Payne revisits the board. Doesn't want to come low on this one because
no score.
He's give James Richardson another
James,
opportunity. 7
4.
match darts for Josh Payne. Sort of been the undoing of this.
Game
and James Richardson turns it completely around.
James
He was 3-1
Richardson.
down. Josh Payne with a 1-3-5 and a 1-4-7 finish. Looked like he was going to cruise to the finish line. James Richardson dug deep, dug in there, stayed in there, and ended up getting the victory and the points. James Richardson starts the campaign with 2. Coming up next, we've got Graham Usher and Paul Hogan.
Well, it was agony for Payne, wasn't it, before the break there? Josh Payne losing in a last leg decider to James Richardson, a man who hadn't won a leg against him in the previous 2 meetings this week. And that after missing 6 match darts. Payne took out a brilliant 1-3-5 with a blocked bullseye, fantastic finish. I'm sure we'll have a look at that later on again, and a 1-4-7 break to follow it. But from there, missed those half a dozen match darts, and James Richardson took full advantage and took the first 2 points from Group 2. Well, it's back to Group 1 now, and our first kind of do-or-die clash of the evening as Graham Usher takes on Paul Hogan. Usher, well, for him, if he's beaten, it's an early night because he was beaten in his first match as well by Gian van Veen, also going the distance. That 1-2 dramatic deciding legs to kick off the evening's action. It also means that if Paul Hogan wins, of course, then he would be through with a game to spare. Good start for him without even playing, but he was in that dramatic Group B. Lots of tension in that one, and he reflected on that earlier this evening with Henry Deacon.
Paul, welcome to finals night here at the Super Series. Just describe what that final night was like in Group B. Every single player on the same amount of points going into it.
Yeah, it was. I knew it was going to be a tough group. I knew if I could get 2 wins on the Thursday, and just get 2 wins on Friday, but I ended up with 3, and I was happy to get through that.
How do you feel getting through that group? Because as we know, it was a tight group, a group full of quality. Must give you a lot of confidence going into tonight.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always been a confident player, but you know, you've just got to keep focusing and keep doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? It's working at the moment.
You played here on the opening night, got through the group. Is it maybe a case now for you to try and get that one step better, get the 5K, get into Champions Week?
Well, we all try, so yeah, I'm going to try my best. You know, I mean, I just take every game as it comes. You know.
Well, Paul, we wish you all the best. Good luck tonight.
Thanks very much. Cheers. Thank you.
So Usher and Hogan meeting for the first time at the Super Series. They're only meeting elsewhere. Saw the gambler run riot, but he is all in this one, which will be described by Matthew Edgar and Chris Mason.
Thanks, Murph. Yep, he is all in. His hand has been dealt. He must win. It will be Van Veen and Hogan through to the semi-finals. Well, they make Usher the 4-6 favourite here. 11-10 for Hogan. Usher in defeat in the opening match of Group 1, averaged 87.27, hit 3 180s, 3 out of 8 on the doubles, but still somehow was on the wrong end.
Yeah, Paul Hogan mentioned in his interview there, didn't he? He's got to keep doing what he's been doing.
Okay, first leg, it's Graham to throw first.
Just trying to
Game
reproduce.
On.
He's produced quite well in Group B. We saw that stat at the start of the show when we looked over the averages. He was the second highest average of the week for the players that are left in this event. That was at 90.74 over 8 matches. That's a good level of consistency. He did peak and average that 100.20. What's more impressive, really, Paul Hogan's not someone we'd normally associate with the big power scores, the 180s. We more associate him with being consistent and professional in his approach and his delivery. Yeah, 11 maximums across those 8 matches.
Yeah, only bettered by David Cameron, who finished down in 4th spot. He hit 15. Also, Hogan topped the table in the ton plus outs with 4. Yeah, 90.74 over 10 matches is quality.
43. Graham, you've got 96.
Get yourself along to the ADC and put your name in the hat.
Game shown the first leg. Graham Usher.
From Graham Usher and Max and the 12 darter.
Second leg, it's Paul to throw first.
Graham Usher lost his first game 4-3 to Van Veen, which means that this game is must-win territory. He's gone up on that stage and opened with a 12 darter. Just shows the quality and just further confirms what we've been saying all the way through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday when he was bottom of the table. I just can't believe what happened those 3 days.
Yeah, he seriously underperformed, and that can happen.
We can just get caught up in that habit, can't you? You have a bad first day, you lose on there, you come in the next day and you feel like you're almost trying to correct something. You feel like you're trying to change something.
180.
Well, every aspect of his game was below his level. Like you said, 84.58 in Group A. Only hit 9
100.
180s. Well, tonight he's already hit 5. And that was the 9 180s for the
81.
group.
A group that has 5 matches a day, 3 days for the week. So
Yeah.
15 matches.
And he only won 3.
85.
You won't win a 180 here, mind you.
140.
Steady
Seen
on.
it done before, haven't we?
Damon Hetter very recently in
Yeah.
Gibraltar.
And there was this debate going on. I'm not sure whether you got involved with your YouTube channel about the hole-in-one, the 147 and the 9-darter. And people say, well, you can't fluke a 180. Well, of course you can.
Game show on the second leg. Graham Usher.
Yeah, I did see that debate.
We've all hit 180s where we've thrown that third dart and we know it's come out of our hand, it's gone nowhere near, it's caught the
Feel
flight,
like
and
it's Graham
got
to throw
drawn in.
first. Game on.
One of the things that we do get with darts is
100.
we get an unopposed, and certainly an environment here at the Super Series, a perfect environment. No gust of wind. There's nothing needed other than your level of performance. The only thing that could be affected is you.
Yep.
The environment can't affect what we do.
No. And the only,
66.
the only way you can really affect your opponent, we've seen it so many times, players go in for 180 when they're on 195. It's you just try and create a bit of a moment
60.
that might just take the focus from your opponent. That's all you can do.
140.
Oh, he is playing out of his skin right now.
95.
Paul Hogan has walked into one.
85.
Good standard tonight. It's what we expected when you looked at the players that was in the group. And I suppose another thing we expected was tight games. And we've had 2 games so far tonight. And they've both gone 4-3. The way Graham Usher's playing here in the mood, he looks like he's in this one.
98.
Doesn't go the distance.
123.
Which will be perfect for him, of course, after losing his opening match. Button.
88. Graham, you've required 12. Game show on the third leg. Graham Usher.
3 legs won in a total of just 44 darts.
4-legged Paul to throw first.
Graham Usher.
Game on.
There is some void in the averages.
And this is where he's not doing what he said. He wanted to keep doing what he's doing. We was having a look at some numbers earlier on, wasn't we? On when they get to finals night, and Paul Hogan actually dips when it comes down to finals night compared to when he plays in his group.
97.
That pattern is kind of repeating itself here in this one.
Is that because the pressure is less because it is very much a marathon in the groups? And that same element of pressure isn't there because if you lose a game, it's not the end of the world.
Well, it's like when you play those group games,
60.
It's like you're playing with lives.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you play Group C, you know 7 wins is probably going to be enough. So you've got 3 lives, you can lose 3 games.
Like some of them tournaments that are double elimination, and this one's pretty much treble elimination.
60.
Although, like James Richardson in the last game, we get to the point where we think one player is going to win and then the other one digs deep and finds something. And Paul Hogan here, like you saw with the averages, was a long, long way off the pace and all of a sudden has just burst into life. He's probably aware of the situation. Like we've said, you do not want to be losing 4-0, 4-1. You do not want these heavy defeats.
58.
You've got to keep it as tight as possible on the legs because they can come into play and often do.
79.
Brilliant dart from Paul Hogan. Doesn't leave an ideal double, but at least he's got 3 at it.
140.
He may not have split. That wouldn't have been that 140 going in. So he's gone straight at it. the side.
11.
At 140,
Graham, you
was
require
just enough
86.
to plant a seed of doubt.
And that might be the only opportunity he gets, because if Graham Usher takes out this 86, it is game over.
61.
It was a well-thrown
We
dart.
require
He's just come
11.
slightly to the side. 11 for Hogan. 2 more darts to extend this game.
Game's on the 4th
It's a
leg.
good leg there from
Paul
Paul
Hogan.
Hogan. It was, though, a hold of throw. He's going to get into
5th leg,
this
it's
one. He
Graham
needs
to throw
break
first.
the throw of
Game
Graham
on.
Usher. You see on the graphic there, just above Graham Usher's name, best of 7. That makes it a race to 4. Graham Usher is throwing
140.
for the match.
Kicks with a 140. This is some reply.
140.
Sort of mouthed rubbish at the end of winning that leg.
83.
Tell you what's not rubbish, the Graham Usher performance. 97.15, 2 180s, 4 140s.
60. 140.
Lovely rhythm now, isn't he? Second 140 of the leg.
On
100. Graham,
with
138.
Paul Nicholson, he says what you need to do is you need 2 points and a positive leg difference, and you are guaranteed to be through. By that, Graham Usher lost his opening game 4-3. If he was to hit this tops and win this game 4-1, that would be Graham Usher through to the finals. And if I'm wrong, tweet Paul
99.
Nicholson.
Graham, you require 40. Game shot of the match.
And if Paul Nicholson is
Graham
correct,
Usher.
that is Graham Usher through. And that will leave it to Paul Hogan and Gian van Veen to battle it out for the rest of this group. That are Graham Usher's, both of his group games done. So we will likely see him in the semi-finals. But there's plenty more to be played for until then. We are about to meet Gary Stone, the performer of the week so far. What is he going to bring to finals night? We'll find out in a second when he takes on James Richardson.
Welcome back. Graham Usher is the first man through to the semi-finals then, that after a thumping 4-1 win against Paul Hogan. Great bounce-back ability from Usher, who lost his opening match of the night 4-3 to Gian van Veen. But look at that, a 98 average, 4 out of 9 on the doubles, 5 140s plus 2 180s as well. Really solid stuff from the gambler, who has left Paul Hogan in peril now. He'll need a healthy victory against Van Veen in Group 1. But it's Group 2 now, and James Richardson, well, he can join Graham Usher in qualifying. That's after he came through this brilliant battle with Josh Payne, who threw everything at him in that game, including that fabulous bullseye. How did he get that in there? Followed by a 147 checkout to lead the match 3-1. But Payne would go on to miss 6 darts at double across 2 different legs in the match, a couple of them in the last leg decider, as you can see here. Well, 4 in the last leg decider in total, in fact, but 2 you see there, and double 2 did the job for James Richardson, who, well, may feel a little fortunate to be here tonight and may feel a little bit fortunate to be in the position he is. A win would see him through. He faces Scotland's Gary Stone, and we're going to hear from him for the first time tonight with Henry.
Gary, welcome to finals night. Your first taste of a crowd here in Portsmouth at the Super Series. Looking forward to it?
Yeah, of course. If you'd have given me this at the start of the week, especially after Monday, and I'd have bit your hand off. So, as I've said before in interviews previous, you're looking to progress, play better each day. I feel as if I've done that. But there's guys in there that everybody wants to peak on a Saturday night. This is where you want to play your proper darts, so hopefully that can come out tonight.
Do you feel like things began to click for you in Group C?
Definitely. I said to myself after Monday, I think, if you'd have given maybe 9 months ago, a year and a half, maybe I would have probably split the dummy after Monday, and it would have probably cost me the week. Refocus, go again Tuesday, Wednesday, try and get that winning mentality for starting again on Thursday. And that's what I did, and then I said to myself, just try and hit the ground running on Thursday. Managed to stay top on Thursday into Friday, and then we're here, so things has went to plan so far.
Would you say the experience of this format has helped you at times this week?
Oh, 100%, 100%. I think guys like, you see Adam coming in, I thought Adam done really well this week, to be fair. He's a great guy, great dart player, and you can see once he starts getting used to this stage, I think he's going to be trouble for a lot of people. It just cost him a wee bit in the end, I think. Whereas, obviously, guys like me and Graham, where Graham had an absolutely shocking Monday, same as myself. But we managed to recoup, re-go again. And as I say, it's all about the Saturday. I said at the start of the week, Mondays, Tuesdays, but nothing's won at the start of the week. It's all about the Saturday.
Well, Gary, wish you all the best. Good luck.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, Gary Stone talking to Henry Deacon there, and he's been too hot to handle at times this week. The Group C winner has racked up a hefty tally of 45 180s en route to finals night. He opens his campaign against James Richardson, who would be through with a win. And our boys in the box are ready to talk you through it.
Thanks, Murph. Yep, any win for James, and then it would be, well, results pending between Gary and Gian van Veen. Big advantage here for James, in my opinion. Matt, I'm not sure what your take on it, but having had a game up there and came through a real examination, we already know he's full of confidence, but he'll be absolutely buzzing after that result.
Yeah, the thing is, he doesn't have a lot of time to sort of do his victory lap. He's straight back up there against Gary Stone, the performer of the week, who he did say in his interview on Monday, he said it's not really about the Monday and the Tuesday, and that's when he really picked up mid-part way of Tuesday and really started to produce. He hasn't just played
like it's James
this week,
to
though.
throw
He
first.
also went and played that Open
Game
on
on.
Wednesday, for which you won that as well. So he's got a lot of darts under the belt. So I think that just kind of negates the advantage that James Richardson might have in the fact that he's already played a game.
140.
But fair play to
27.
James Richardson. I think when we all came in today and we looked at the names and we looked at the groups, I think we kind of dismissed James Richardson a little bit based on what he's shown us this week. And
140.
Well, it's come through to Saturday, and the real James Richardson's decided to stand up. I think there may be a problem here.
54.
Yeah, and Gary's not had the greatest of results, has he, on finals nights?
Well, if James Richardson was to win this
73.
game, it would then just go to a straight shootout, really, Gary Stone, Josh Payne. Because, obviously, the first deciding factor is points.
78. James, you require 148.
Also, look, we've been mulling over the situation with Gian van Veen against Paul Hogan, weren't we?
Yeah, that's an interesting conclusion. So Paul Hogan can still go through. And if our maths are correct, that means that Paul Hogan is going to need to win 4-0 or 4-1.
Yep.
Because if it goes 4-2, it will
James
go
requires
legs
70.
1 to Gian. So Hogan has to outperform him because he only got one leg in his game with Graham Usher.
Game shown the first leg.
One leg into
James
this game.
Richardson.
Gary Stone has not started yet. And the problem is James Richardson has a 15 darter there for James
Second, it's
Richardson to
Gary
get
to
that
throw
one wrapped up.
first.
Gary Stone's going to need to get into this one quick, or James Richardson is going to be joining Graham Usher through
42.
in the semi-finals.
So in my opinion, you just come in a little bit cold. Of course,
140
is in full flow. And when you make a start to a match like Gary
58.
Stone has, the demons creep in and you start to question everything.
Well, he mentioned that in his interview, didn't he? He said in that interview that 9 months ago, when he had that bad start, that would have just carried on throughout and he wouldn't have been able to block that out. But when you're in this position, when it is not a marathon no more, it is a sprint, you need to produce on the off. How much resilience do you have before those demons start saying hello?
Yeah, you've got to go on the bigger bang. That's what Richardson's done here. 15 darter in leg 1. 140s thrice in leg 2. 81 after 9.
140.
James Richardson here, a prime example for what we talk about all the way through the week, where we say the most important thing is get to Saturday. It doesn't matter how. James Richardson is a walking advert tonight for that sentence.
56.
Not taking any
Gary, 161.
risks with Gary Stone. Graham Usher in the week didn't he? He opted out of throwing his last dart at double 5 and decided to bust the score and instead to Gary Stone and took out 147. Back-to-back.
17.
Back-to-back 15 darts. Now there's
Gary
an opportunity here
79.
Gary Stone has to take.
You feel it could run away from him if he don't get this tops.
39.
Tops has been a good friend to him all week.
James, you require
but
8.
Not on this occasion. It's more like an enemy. Because that was a well-thrown dart. James has got 3 darts of his own.
4.
Didn't really scare
Gary,
that one too
require
much.
40.
No.
Game shown the second leg. Gary Stone.
Gary Stone steps in and says, "Thank you very much. I'll have that one."
Third leg is James to throw first. Game on.
Gary is sort of scratching his head and mulling around at the back of the stage there. He's probably thinking, what's going on here?
81.
He's played himself into form. He's become the bookies' favourite to win the group. That's based on being the best performer on the averages despite playing the most legs. Only takes a very small thing just to turn a game. Missed opportunity for James. Taken one for Gary, and he's already starting to throw with a bit more pace.
83.
This front nine, though, from James Richardson is absolutely amazing. The amount of 140s, 7 140s, and this is only leg number 3.
121.
It's a bit unfortunate because
James, you require 140.
Not left him on a finish, so 6 at 140. Ooh.
$74.
Not sure about that either. Very aggressive.
$60. James, you require 66. $46. Gary, require 116.
An opportunity you wouldn't have expected. That was a
James, you require 20
to break the throw.
Games on the third leg. James Richardson.
Ultimately finds the target and retakes the lead 2-1. Not before.
It's Gary to throw first.
Stone had a dart for the break and the lead himself.
93.
But doesn't that make it hurt so much more? When it's left late, when it's left to the last dart in hand, when you think you've got another opportunity, when you think you're coming back to break the throw, and then it's just taken away.
85.
Oh, there's very little that hurts more in darts when you're... I mean, some players choose to just stare at the floor, don't they, and not even engage in it. But I was always one of those that was looking over the shoulder and thinking, right, I've got it here, and then you see the last dart go in, or it deflects in off the other two, or it's nowhere near, nowhere near, and then it goes in. It's one of those Merv King really moments.
140.
Well, Gary Stone is waking up. We've certainly got a game on our hands now. 134 backed up with a 140, the 93 to start.
64. Gary
He's left himself a 134 after just 9 darts.
Ooh.
114.
Paid off. He'll be back, of course. James Richardson, not even halfway through the leg. And since you mentioned the 140 stat, the commentator's curse is alive and well, I see.
77.
He's not here, 140.
20. Games
I
on
wasn't
the
surprised to see
fourth
Gary
leg.
Stone go for the tops because he's been so good on it all week. And when you like something like tops, surely you're going to like the breakdown and the 10s, which is what Gary Stone steps in and levels this game up.
Game on.
I think this is going to be an interesting leg, a big leg in the context of this game. Because Gary Stone is on the upwards curve where James Richardson's starting the slide.
60.
Even with his bad day on the doubles, he actually is around 40% on tops, which is not a bad return rate.
140.
He is really beginning to find the lipstick now.
It's like he's borrowed the 140s from James, isn't it?
60.
He showed him how to do it.
$57.
Made inroads on the Richardson throw. Well, that's taken care of that.
140. $60.
A blink of the eye. James Richardson has got the darts back. He's back in the groove.
140.
That is the 9th 140 of this game for James Richardson.
180.
You knew it was coming.
James, you're recording.
Just surprised it took 4 legs to see one. Gary Stone hits a 180.
Yes, 46th of the week.
38. Gary
what a time
requires
to do
64.
so as well. Just when James Richardson thought he was going to canter to the finishing line in this leg, Gary Stone hits a 180 to leave 64. He's got a dart A double 16.
48.
Which I'm surprised at, considering how often he's left tops all week.
Games require
How good he's been on
63.
it. And tens. Tops.
43.
Bit of a quick one.
Gary requires 16. Game shot on the 5th leg.
I've been keeping my eye
Gary
on
Stone.
the averages throughout this game and can tell you that that pattern is continued. Gary Stone's average
Sixth leg,
just
it's Gary
continues
to
to
throw
climb
first.
steadily.
Game on.
James Richardson's just continues to come down despite the couple of 140s in that leg. That'll come down to the messy finishing there
60.
from 101.
Well, I had no choice but to climb, because he was in the 50s, wasn't he, after the opening leg? He had a very slow start, but he has progressively
140.
better and better and better.
10 140s from James Richardson.
97.
This is mightily impressive.
And he's only had one score of a ton.
Suppose when you're hitting
60.
this many 140s,
yeah.
there's no time to hit hundreds.
$121.
I've spoken to you since I did the coverage, of course, on the Players' Championship finals. Did you get to watch that final?
121.
Yeah, I got to watch quite a lot of that. Really good event, actually. Enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was good. I thought the final was incredible. At 170, obviously the 9 dart was
46.
immense, but the timing of that 170 was, well, we talk about it often, game changers. That certainly was. Great to see Rob Cross, of course, playing some really, really good stuff.
121.
MVG's not had a bad year for someone who's finished.
Expect to see him closing down that world number 1 spot
Games
in the
require
next sort of 6
59.
months.
$57. Gary requires 153.
You almost feel like he might have been better off if that went under the wire. If you're going to miss, go back to the 59.
Yeah, I'd have been super aggressive on that. I'd have really attacked the double.
100. James, you require 2.
Interesting now. James Richardson in the madhouse. There's only one thing he can do here.
No score.
That's hit the double
Gary
1.
require 53.
Anything else will not count. Gary Stone is going to leave himself on that favourable tops. James Richardson had his opportunity there. If he'd have beat Gary Stone, he would have guaranteed his position through. But we've now got to wait for the Gary Stone-Josh Payne game to see what's going to be happening in regards to qualification in that group. That one has just had a bit of a shake-up. We know what we need to do in this next game. It's Paul Hogan against Gian van Veen, where Hogan is looking for a 4-0 or a 4-1, or he is going home.
So a solid start for Stone before the break there. Gary Stone beating James Richardson to leave Ruthless hanging a little bit, waiting around for a result in the last match of that group, though he still has plenty of chances to get through, including if Stone, of course, were to win again. He defeated Richardson 4-2, despite a slightly worse average. But look at that, as Matthew Egger was talking about there, 10 140s from James Richardson in that game, but to no avail. He now waits and hopes for the right result in the final match in his group. The final match, though, in Group 1 is Paul Hogan against Gian van Veen, and Hogan is in trouble. Graham Usher already through from that group despite defeat to Van Veen. That's because he dished out this toweling to Paul Hogan, starting the match with a brilliant dozen darter and then going on to seal the win on tops. That means that Paul Hogan must win this game by at least 3 legs, or he will be heading home. Van Veen will go through with Graham Usher. If he wins a match, of course, Van Veen will top the group. So a big ask here for Paul Hogan. Let's see if he's up to it in the company of Chris Mason and Matthew Edgar.
It is a big ask for Paul Hogan. Not only does he need that big win, it is against a Group A winner in Gian van Veen, someone we've spoke about having that incredible ceiling, a challenge to a win, a challenge to a runner-up, a Pro Tour runner-up, and that's all within the last couple of months. But one thing we do know about the 59-year-old Paul Hogan is he's got this ability that can come out at any time. We've seen him in the past. Events such as the UK Open, beating the then world champion Gary Anderson. And having some big runs there. He's appeared at Lakeside many times, nearly ended the run of Glenn Durrant when Glenn Durrant was on for the hat-trick of world titles. He missed match starts in that one. So he's got the ceiling. He doesn't just have this level of consistency that we see, and he's shown us this incredible ceiling this week as well. He averaged 100 in one of his games. He's had 11 maximums. He was very impressive in Group B.
135.
He's going to need to find that form in this one rather than the form we saw of him in the opening game, because he was a long way off the pace there. Graham Usher, 4-1 victory, and Hogan barely just getting into the 80 averages, 80.28. That is going to need to be added to by at least 10 points.
Agreed.
59.
You're known as a bit of a king of the qualifiers, but Hoagie's done it a few times as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, I remember
85.
in the UK Open, he was dubbed the professional amateur.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember it well. Unfortunately, it wasn't me who claimed that remark.
$140.
Not good thinking on the maths. The 140 to lead the 162. That just shows at 59 years old, you still don't know it all.
90.
Player.
January require 147.
Taylor couldn't count. Didn't do him any harm.
111. We require 72.
Well, the easiest way to counteract not being able to count is just hit everything you throw for.
A la Phil Taylor.
52. January require 36.
Opportunity came after Van Veen missed the double 18. This could be one of his 2 lives gone. That's all he's got here, 2 lives. It's got to be 4-0 or 4-1. That is a low dart. Double 2.
34.
And I never felt good with that. And if you notice Gian at the back there throwing fake darts before he came up.
Trying to loosen up.
15.
This is really edgy.
January required 2.
Double 1. And there again, the old ghost throw.
Game shown the first leg. Gian van Veen.
Yeah, he's quite a lot of things away, doesn't he? And he's got the long arm
Second leg is
sleeve
Gian
on
to
as
throw
well. And
first.
you see him with that fake dart. But the big thing there, you see Paul Hogan looking out to the side. I think he knows the situation here.
Yeah.
43.
And that situation is he had 2 lives in this game. One of them has gone. That is the opportunity for Paul Hogan to win 4-0. If Paul Hogan is to qualify to the semi-final, he needs to win every single leg.
45.
And he is a man right now who is living every single dart.
Yeah, it's just like the psychological approach
65.
we mentioned earlier about playing in the group stages. You always feel like you've got plenty of lives. Finals night, it's pretty much all or nothing.
140.
It's like on finals night as well. When you get into this situation, those lives are made out of glass. They're not safe opportunities of a whole match. We're talking
59.
legs. And we're talking 2 legs.
Yep.
Again, losing the line.
45.
Real time is really running out here for Paul Hogan.
Well, he averaged just 80.28 in that opening match
140.
4-1 to Usher. And I know it's the early stages of the match, but he's averaging in the low 70s. Van Veen's not really needing to pull up trees here
55.
to guarantee his spot in the semi-finals. The top 2 from each group progress. Winner of Group 1.
134.
Said time's running out for Paul Hogan, and I'm just getting this visual in my mind here of Paul Hogan stuck in a sand timer. And the sand is pouring through on his head, and you just can't do anything to stop it.
And he requires 60.
How many consecutive days have you been working?
40.
You on your
Paul, you
8th
require
pint of Red Bull or
160.
something?
80.
That would have been
And
just
you
to keep his
require
hopes alive a
20.
little bit longer, but their hopes might be dashed. We are 1 good dart from Gian away. I'm saying goodbye to Paul Hogan.
I look down there, thinking about the split.
No score. Paul, you require 36. Game show on the second leg. Paul Hogan.
Matches the darts with Gian in leg 1 with a 19 dart break of throw.
Third leg is Paul to throw first.
You just got to take the attitude of, right, I'm free rolling. It should be all over. Shake of the head.
45.
And the body language tells you all you need to know.
The shake of the head comes because once again he's lost that line and gone into the 5, and he's probably wondering why he can't even keep the dart straight at this moment in time.
100.
Time is not on his side.
60.
Opportunities will be limited.
$37.
But hope, there is still a little bit of it. As again he goes into the 5. You can see that it's starting to frustrate him.
82.
Neither player really able to take a hold of this game. Just a couple of legs. We've already had 15 darts at a double.
100.
That's an indication of the pressure they're both feeling.
100.
It's tense, isn't it? You can feel it.
You can see it.
140.
Gian knows he's just sort of 6 or 9
80.
darts away
January
from confirming his
124.
place in the semi-finals.
Game
What a way to
shot
do
the
it.
third leg.
A 1-2-4
Gian van
from
Veen.
Gian van Veen has just confirmed his place through. He joins Graham Usher through from Group 1, and Paul Hogan
Gian to throw
is
first.
eliminated.
And he knows, yeah, a scratch of the head, all that hard work to qualify
60.
has all been in vain, or Van Veen.
Still not a terrible couple of days' work. He'll still leave with a few pounds in the pocket. But that horrible record that he has on finals night just continues to grow.
97.
Yeah, just 6 wins from 15.
100.
It is a very unique.
Sorry, no, yeah, 6 wins and 15 defeats.
Very unique, weird feeling when you play
100.
these little mini groups. You don't get this sort of environment anywhere else, and you sort of feel like you're so close to winning, but at the same time
43.
you're on the borderline of losing and being eliminated.
Yeah.
$100.
I just sort of approached it as a knockout.
The expression I always use for Q School is
100.
they
January
only give points to
144.
losers. It's the same with this. If you're winning, it doesn't matter about the league table. You know where you are. You're at the top of it.
Yep.
You only worry about the
128.
league table when you start losing. Another 5.
For me, it was sort of game 1 was round 1, game 2 round
January requires 16.
2. Game 3 semi-final,
Games
game
on the
4 the
fourth
final.
leg.
And he's found
Gian
another
van
gear here,
Veen.
Gian van Veen. 15 darter with that 1-2-4 in the break, and that was a 16 dart hold.
Fifth leg, it's Paul to
Now
throw
in
first.
control.
We'll pre-warn you that the next game, Gary Stone versus Josh Payne, is not as simple as this one when we say a 4-0 or 4-1 for Paul Hogan. There are so many outcomes, so I'm pretty sure Chris Murphy, in between the games, is going to run you through these.
We'll put it on him.
96.
So go get yourself a pen and paper or open your phone to the
An
notes.
abacus.
This one is not going to be an easy one to work out, and remember, we will try and talk you through it as we go, but there are a lot of possible outcomes in that game.
There are a few permutations.
85. 83. 100. 61.
Loved his first max of the match there on 220 to lead tops.
100.
He will return at 120 for the match. Got to go ball. Or
105.
14, but that was
January
the right shot.
120.
Dinas took a big finish out in this game. It was the 1-2-4. It was the shot that qualified him through. It's a 120 that sees him win the match against Paul Hogan. A disappointing night for Paul Hogan, who just hasn't turned up and hasn't produced like he has the last couple of nights. And we say goodbye to Paul Hogan. But Gian van Veen, we will see him later on. He joins Graham Usher at qualifying through Group 1. But take this opportunity to go and get yourself a pen and a paper, because we're going to let you know what needs to happen in the Gary Stone versus Josh Payne game, which is coming in a couple of minutes' time.
Welcome back. So Hogan heads home here at the Super Series finals night on week 6 of Series 2 after Gian van Veen sealed victory against the Basingstoke thrower, who disappointed really on finals night, did not produce the level he has the previous couple of evenings. Average in the 70s there from Hogan, and Van Veen getting a comprehensive and deserved victory to go through with Graham Usher. So the last match of the group stages then is in Group 2, and nothing is settled in that one yet. Gary Stone about to take on Josh Payne. He beat James Richardson, Gary Stone, as you can see here in his first match of the evening. Payne had lost to James Richardson in a last leg decider. That makes things very interesting now, and I know the boys in commentary challenged me to run you through the permutations for this one. Well, I can tell you that if Gary Stone wins, and he goes through with James Richardson. If Payne wins, he goes through. If he wins it 4-0 or 4-1, he takes Richardson with him, but 4-2 or 4-3, then it will be Stone who progresses with Payne. Does that make sense? Have you got it, guys? Let's just play the game, shall we?
Yeah, I think we'll just worry about it when we know the result.
I think the easiest way to break it down a little bit there is to say if Gary Stone reaches 2 legs, he is through. So I think that's the first thing we're looking for here. Gary Stone 2 legs will put him through. The rest of it, wowzers, it is getting a little bit tricky.
Well, there you go. Gary 8-11 favourite. Even money for Josh. What's your feelings on that?
Hey, first leg, it's Gary to throw
On
first.
what you've seen so far tonight.
Game on.
I think that is purely down to the fact that Gary Stone's throwing first. I mean, one thing I do expect to see is a lot of 180s in this game. I don't think this is going to be a game that goes a small scoreline. I think we're going to get plenty of legs. We've got 2 big 180 hitters here. We've got Gary Stone, the biggest 180 of the week. That took long, didn't it? And he's taking on Josh Payne, the maximum.
How about if I told you that this is their 8th meeting and Gary Stone's only won once here at the Super Series?
96.
He certainly started himself off right, hasn't he? Opening up with a maximum. That's one of them already.
They first met back in
58.
2014 in a round of 128 in a Players' Championship. And it went all the way.
180.
Making it 6-5. Oh, you did mention those maxes.
That's 2 already.
Don't look so pleased with yourself.
We're 18 darts into the match. Loves this. He's loved it all week.
5.
Tops, that is. 180s as well, to be fair. Josh Payne, a long way back in this one. But that is because Gary Stone had 2 180s and
96. Gary required 40.
48 now this week, 180s.
Game shot the first leg.
A very
Gary
tidy
Stone.
start, 13 dart hold.
Second leg is Josh to throw first.
So Gary Stone is now 1 leg away from him confirming his place in the final, and then it'll be left down to
95.
Josh Payne and James Richardson to see who goes through with him.
Yeah, shall I just run through it?
96.
Any Stone win? Stone first, Richardson second. Josh 4-0 or 4-1. Payne first, Richardson second. Josh 4-2, Payne first, Stone second. Josh 4-3, Stone first, Payne second.
96. $96. 140. 96. Josh Rock
Seen a couple of big
170.
finishes from Josh already tonight. The 135 and 147. That was in defeat to James Richardson in his opening bid. Did take a 3-1 lead in that game.
134.
Get plenty of match darts.
$42. Josh requires 36.
Level game.
Game show on the second leg. Josh Payne.
Now two very, very solid holds of throw.
And that leads us to a
Delegates
situation where
Gary
we
to
can
throw
tell you one
first.
player or one person who is watching this, who is not liking what they are seeing right now, and that is James Richardson. The way this game is going is
134.
not working out well for him as of yet.
$57.
No, he will be supporting Gary Stone here, of course.
45.
The one thing that we can say at this point in this group is there are 3 players in it. There are 2 places available.
60.
There are still 2 places available. No place has yet been confirmed. Gary Stone wins this leg. He'll be the first confirmed player.
40.
But you almost get that feeling he might be aware of it, because despite the good 3 darts, he's had a 45 and a 40, and to be fair, they've not been the closest of efforts.
180.
There's that overlanding that we mentioned, and it's took, what, 2 and a bit legs.
Yep.
98. $100.
The old primetime picks. We always felt that this match had legs in it, which would make the over even more likely on the 180s.
Joshua 104.
Huge moment. Treble 16. Double 14. A change of tack.
76. Gary require 48.
This is to go through. Tops. He's loved it all week.
Game show
He'll
on the
love it
third
even
leg.
more now.
Gary
Gary
Stone.
Stone is the first player in Group 2 confirmed through. So there's one more place available. Who's going to go
Fourth leg
through
is
with Gary
Josh to throw
Stone?
first.
Is it going to be
Game on.
Josh Payne, or is it going to be James Richardson?
$140. $140. $93.
Shoes and socks are off now for Chris Mason as he's trying to work out what is needed.
Well, I was just taking another look at both of their
57.
win and loss records on finals nights. Makes fascinating reading. Just shows you the extra pressure involved. Playing what is
128.
effectively knockout darts.
$180. Joshua
It's his third
140.
of this match.
He's a machine, isn't he, on those 180s? Just churning them out all week long. This is his 6th day of playing darts, and he even
60.
chucked in an
Gary
extra
Rick
day going to a
124.
tournament.
He's one off hitting 50 for the week.
Game shot on the fourth leg.
Beautiful 12
Gary
dart.
Stone.
Break of throw. And now he has the darts.
Fifth leg, it's Gary to throw first.
Full one.
Game on.
So by my reckoning, and correct me if I'm wrong with this, but Gary
131.
Stone wins from here. James Richardson goes through. If Josh Payne wins now, Josh Payne and Gary Stone go through.
95.
So we've eliminated all the possibilities now. It literally is just who wins. And essentially, Gary Stone is representing
100.
James Richardson, just to keep it simple.
Yes.
It's like he's his tag team partner right now. I know you're a big fan of the wrestling.
Yeah, I love it.
140.
The boxing tonight, that's for sure.
$100.
Well, he's down to 170. That'd be a way to win it.
123. Gary Rook, 170. $64. Joshua Rook, 143.
Gary Stone will return at 106. You feel the way he's playing, he'll probably carve himself a match down
Gary
here.
Require 106.
He's been so good around the treble 20, and he is there again.
Game shot of the match.
That
Gary
wraps it up
Stone.
and sends Josh Payne home. A very good performance from Josh Payne. He played well in his opening game, went 3-1 up, and it just didn't happen for him in the end. And then same thing again tonight. That game, a 98 average, but Gary Stone played absolutely fantastic, books himself a place, and will take James Richardson through with him to the semi-finals, which will be coming your way in a couple of minutes' time.
This is the MODUS Super Series. $180.
And there we have our semi-finalists then after that last win, and it was a brilliant win for Gary Stone. He's grown into the week and he's grown into the night as well, and what a performance, 101.48 in a 4-1 thrashing of Josh Payne, who bows out of the competition. Matt Eggers alongside me. Look at those stats, Matthew. It's a brilliant performance, isn't it?
How many times do we need to say this about Gary Stone before we really start talking about him as a solid contender? And actually, the strong favourite to win this group, 101 average, 3 180s. Hit 2 of them in the opening leg. I didn't even get my sentence out at the start of that game when I was trying to say I expect 180s, and he's already hit one. First 3 darts. And the finishing as well is the complete package at the moment. And he's got to be the strong favourite now to go and take this title.
Yeah, maybe that will be the case. Gary Stone will play in the second semi-final against Graham Usher. The first will feature Gian van Veen. He takes on James Richardson. A real contrast in how the pair got there. But let's start with Gian. Brilliant performances this week. He's been pretty consistent, hasn't he? A couple of good wins and a couple of good finishes in this one against Paul Hogan.
I think that's it, really, with Gian. I'm still not sold. I'm still not 100% there. I watch him play, and there's just something I can't quite put my finger on, that I'm not quite seeing him as a champion this week. But the big thing is he knows how to win games. Even when he's not playing well, he's winning. And then when he plays well, he's winning. That's a very good quality to have, and that's why he's in the semi-finals.
Yeah, it's his third finals night of the Super Series, and he's always made the final before, so he seems to have the knack of getting to that stage. James Richardson, however, his opponent, he's riding his luck, isn't he, this week?
What on earth is going on with James Richardson? He came into tonight, and I think when we came in, I think we'd all probably looked at him. We was looking for players who were going to go through, players that maybe come into it a little bit weak. He came into it weak. He was averaging 82 in Group B. He rode his luck, didn't he? He went right the way to a last leg. He broke the throw off David Cameron in that last leg. He had 1 dart in his hand and took that. He had to wait on the results to get through there. And sometimes, if it's going your way and it's all looking like you're going to go win it, when you actually then start to produce, like we know James Richardson can, if he can find that for 10 minutes, he could get through this game, be in the final. Who knows?
Yeah, he's in the semi-finals, who knows how, but Paul Hogan has bowed out, as has Josh Payne. Who's been the biggest surprise for you that won't be competing in the Final Four?
I think Josh Payne's probably going to feel a little bit harshly treated. He had the 98 average there against Gary Stone, and Gary Stone just timed everything perfection. 101 average against him there. He was 3-1 up in his opening game. That was probably his own doing. That's where he can feel disappointed. When you're 3-1 up, and he took out the 135 to 147. That is the bit he can go back and really kick himself for. That Gary Stone one, so they just happen sometimes. He will probably think, why did it happen against me? And he'll be disappointed and frustrated with himself. But the real frustration is that 3-1 lead that he lost.
Let's focus on the players that are still in the tournament. And the second semi-final will be Stone against Usher. He's going to be, if you pardon the pun, a kind of hard stone to crack, isn't he? But can Graham Usher do it? He's the man who's had success here before.
Graham Usher's one of those players that can just light up and just go and have a good power load of legs. And that's what we said when you asked me 2 days ago, I think, or a day ago. You said to me, who wins this? I said, I think Gary Stone wins the competition. But my concern is, when he goes up against someone like a Graham Usher, they can all of a sudden just explode with 105, 110 average. The positive for Gary Stone is he's just recorded 101. Has he just answered that question before I even get a chance to ask it?
Yeah, so you're sticking with Stone. The first semi-final, Van Veen against Richardson. I mean, everything says that Van Veen should win it, but Richardson, are we going to have the old Chris Mason adage that his name might be on the pot?
I haven't got a clue what happens in this game. I think what we're going to do, we're going to get opportunities. There's going to be missed opportunities. There's going to be taken opportunities. Someone's going to miss a couple of darts to get a break, a throw. The other player's going to stay. This is going to get a little bit interesting. Going to get a little bit scrappy at times, but also mixed in there with a lot of quality. This is going to be anything.
Yeah, it could be anything. Right, let's see which way it goes. If Van Veen can keep up that incredible record of always getting to the final when he's played at finals night, or if Richardson can continue to be the kind of wrecker in this week. Matt will go back downstairs to commentary and join Chris Mason to guide you through the semi-finals.
Thank you very much, Murph. Yes, this is very much one of those that is, it's a bit of a pick-em. Only one previous between the two, and that was on the Challenge Tour. Challenge Tour 5 this year in Milton Keynes. First round game. James just edged it 5-4. I'm a great believer in what Murph mentioned there. If your name's on pot, don't matter what goes on in front of you, you just find a way to win. And both have found a way to win to get to this stage. And on the finals night, Gian van Veen has only lost once.
Okay, first leg is Gian to throw first.
10 matches.
Game on.
That's some record.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a bit of that myself, actually. When you got a record like that, you'll have a few pound in the old bank account.
96.
Well, there's a few pound up for grabs tonight, of course. The winner taking away
£140.
and a place in the very lucrative Champions Week, where the winner takes away £20,000.
55.
All week I've liked giving predictions and bold predictions. I've predicted the scores. I've predicted who wins and how many 180s they've hit. I've predicted everything. But this is one that I just can't. Have you got any sort of indication, or are you along my lines of this is just going to have a little bit of everything?
I think they're, I totally agree. I think they're both can be a little erratic.
58.
I think they're both going to give each other opportunities. I just think it's going to come down to maybe a player missing and maybe a player taking the advantage of the mistakes.
I think it's going to come down to a shot like an 84 to an 86.
100.
Yeah, where someone just gets that one that just separates the two with that sort of mid-80 range.
There's that curse, of course, of winning Group A.
$82. James requires 65.
James Richardson, an opportunity to break the throw at the first time of asking. 2 darts at tops. Good lie.
Game
used
shot
well.
The first leg.
15
James
darts for
Richardson.
James Richardson to break the throw. Gian nearly falling off the stage. But Richardson
Second
is
is
the
James
man
to
commanding
throw
the stage.
first. $81.
He reckons this is going to be his last time here. Listen to his interview at the start of the night. He is adamant he will be taking a PDC tour card. Q School in January.
43.
Somewhere we also expect to see Gian van Veen applying his trade.
I expect him to go very well. Expect them both to
140.
close. This is week 6 of 12 qualifying weeks for Champions Week. We've already had Jim McEwen safely flew, Alexandra Merckx, Justin Smith, Colin Osborne, and Jamie Kellen. Is one of these two going to join those 5?
60.
Next week is looking very interesting. More on that after our second semi-final, and I will be joining Murph up on the balcony.
100.
Looking ahead to next week's lineup.
$100.
Sort of feel with Gian, he's tend to have been around that
45.
mid sort of 80s average this
James
week. He has dropped below, he's
120.
occasionally come up above it. And you sort of feel that he's going to get caught at some point if he doesn't improve on that fast. This could be the
100.
game where it all just runs a bit dry for him.
Yep. Yeah, you can only get away with it for so long.
60.
Well, you'd feel
James,
that
you
that'd be the
require
case.
20.
And at the moment, there's a huge void in the
Game show the
averages.
second leg.
And the
James
breaker throw is
Richardson.
backed up with a 16-dart hold. It's 2-0 to Richardson. Van Veen
So look, it's
has
Gian
not
to throw
made
first.
the kind of start he would have hoped for. He is some 20 points adrift in the averages, down at 77. 97 for James.
140.
The thing is, I've called Gian's games for the first 3 days when he won Group A, and this was a familiar pattern. Where he'd be sort of in the low 70s. He'd raise it slightly into the mid 80s, but it tend to have just been enough. He just gets over the line, and as I said up with Chris Murphy up on the balcony, I says it's a sign of a good player, actually. It's a good quality to have when you can win, when you're not playing your best, when you don't have to rely on everything being right to get over the line.
Yeah, sometimes you have to win ugly, but I'd expect at some point, look, like you say,
180.
Get away with it.
$81. January 121.
James has had a disastrous start to this.
89.
Gian van Veen's left 32 after just 4 visits.
I do get the feeling, though, with James that he can have a
79.
tendency to switch off in legs. A bit James Wade-like. Not in too much of a negative, but James Wade often says, like, if he doesn't start well, he doesn't want to waste a 180 in a leg. James Richardson essentially has done his job already. He's got the breaker throw on Gian. He doesn't need to do it again.
No.
So, in that leg,
James
if it doesn't start well, I can dismiss that. It doesn't matter. It's about this leg. It's about holding my throw.
125.
Drag over the negativity of a poor leg into the next leg. He seems to be able to just cast it off, which is another great quality.
Well, he didn't cast over the negativity of 2 bad days.
No.
So I don't think a leg's going to bother him too much.
58.
He's one of the ADC belt holders, the European champion. He's now a 2-time European champion because he actually lost that title to Kevin Painter and then instantly
they
put
had a
his
rematch.
Bid straight in, didn't he? He wanted it back straight away.
Yeah, made the purse bid for the strap. Very much like boxing.
$91.
One step closer of having a
100. And you require 170.
Full belt champion in boxing with Fury, as expected, winning very comfortably this evening. Oh.
145. James, you require 137.
Already this week, Gian van Veen, the 170. Will return for the 25. So, I said James Richardson had done the hard work.
97.
About to be
and
undone.
Require 25.
If Gian can take out this 25, it'll be a level game, and he'll be back with a throw. And just flicked my eye at the averages, and he's completely turned those around.
Yeah, and the last 2 legs, he's hit the switch. He's hit the afterburner.
Game shot the 4th
He's back
leg.
to 15 up.
Gian van Veen.
With a 14 dart breaker throw. Very, very impressive turnaround.
What did I say at the start of this game? I said
it's Gian to throw first.
Commentator Gian for 3 days, and he's done this so many times where he's just that mid-70s, looking like it's all about to run dry for him, and then he just turns it around.
43.
He's now just 2 holds of throw away from a place in the final, but 43 should really be punished.
93.
Seems like another player that's just
180.
not affected by what's gone before him.
85.
I suppose that's the best way to be. We can't go backwards in time. We only go forwards, and the only thing you can affect are the next 3 darts. And when you open 43 off your opponent, an opportunity, and then stamp it straight out by hitting a max.
That's the way to do it.
Speaking of maxes,
180.
and that's when you know James Richardson's playing well. When he does this, he growls at the board, he stomps around the stage.
95. James, you require
Last one.
143.
Leave potential two-darter. Treble 17. Ooh, right on the money. Would have left 32.
102. Jan, you require 100.
Big moment. I said that it'll come down to a shot like this. One of these sort of two dart combos. If he misses this, James Richardson on 41, this is exactly the situation I expected to be seeing.
Tops.
60.
It's all about who comes
James,
out
you
of
require
this
41.
situation the best. James Richardson is tops away from that being him.
Game show on the fifth leg. James Richardson.
Standard in this final has been superb. Started
Sixth
with
leg is James
Richardson
to throw
with a 15
first.
dart
Game on.
breaker throw, followed it with a 16 dart hold. Gian held in 15 and broke in 14. And James
140.
just broke back in 14. Starts leg 6 with a 140.
I was convinced before this game started that there'd be a moment like we've just seen.
83.
And now we've just seen it. I'm going to make the brave decision at 3-2 to say that James Richardson goes on to win this game. It was all down to that one moment we felt.
Yeah, we both felt that there would be a situation where there was going to be a miss, and if the other player punished, which is exactly what Richardson has done, and he's kicked off 140, and he's in again.
180.
Class. Averager goes up to 100. He's 3 from 4 on the doubles, so you'd
140.
imagine
James
two
require
darts should
41.
be more than enough for James Richardson to get this one wrapped up. And James Richardson touched the afterburners. He won that little tight moment I was expecting to see, and then an amazing last leg where he's gone out in 11 darts. James Richardson moves through to the final. But who will he be playing in the final? Will it be Graham Usher or will it be Gary Stone? We'll give you the answer to that in a couple of minutes' time when they enter the stage for their semi-final clash.
Welcome back. Well, this time last night, James Richardson went to the stage to play his final match, thinking he'd already been eliminated from the Super Series this week, but he's now found himself in the final. Richardson getting the better of the Group A winner, Gian van Veen. They both played decent darts in it, to be fair. Richardson, though, with a very strong display, 4 out of 5 on the doubles, that's 80%, and he was just shy of the 100 mark in the average as well. So ruthless, the first player through to the final. We'll find out his opponent now, as the second semi is about to get started, and it is a meeting between Gary Stone and Graham Usher. Usher had a very slow start to the week this week. He lost all 5 games on Monday and 3 of his first 15 fixtures, but he did produce some brilliant stuff tonight. That dozen darter before going on to beat Paul Hogan 4-1 to seal his qualification for the semis. As for Gary Stone, well, he seems to have got better and better as the week has progressed. He averaged in 3 figures in beating Josh Payne, taking out 304 in 6 darts here. And then he went on to take out 106 to wrap up a fabulous 4-1 win, and that average of more than 100. So Richardson awaits in the final. Can Graham usher Gary Stone out of the tournament, or can Gary Stone usher Graham out of the tournament? We're a stone's throw away from finding out. Chris Mason and Matthew Edgar will guide you through semi-final number 2.
Well, if we thought the last one was quality, this one has the same ingredients, and this one could hit that ceiling where, see a player hit 100 average again here. We've already seen it once tonight from Gary Stone. He averaged 100 in his last game with Josh Payne. Graham Usher has just been pretty brilliant, really, in his night. 97.89 in his victory over Paul Hogan. I think another thing we can be sure we're going to see in this game is maximums, 180s. Not just because Gary Stone's on the stage, but Graham Usher quite likes filling it up himself.
100.
Seen some quality tonight, averages of over 94, 99, 98, 63, 93, 76,
95.
That 97.89 from Usher. It has been littered with absolute quality.
99.
No more so than that man there, Gary Stone, who's had the highest average of the night so far, that 101.48. But every part of it was quality. 318s, 4 out of 6 on the doubles. 124 on the ball.
45.
This is a game you wouldn't want to be having to make a prediction in.
Oh.
Both players have been here all week.
43.
They started their campaign in Group A. Both will be hoping that after 6 days of action that they go home with the pocket full.
140.
Take home the bounty.
$60. Graham, you require 88.
Every match these two have played here at the Super Series has gone to a deciding leg. The first 4 meetings, Gary Stone won them all 4-3. And the only win for Graham Usher came on Friday, and that was 4-3 as well.
$98. Graham, you require
prediction
40.
in their matches littered with 180s.
Game's on the first leg.
Usher.
Graham Usher.
First blood with a 16-dart breaker throw, and Gary made a slow start to his match against.
Second leg, it's Graham to throw first.
Group 2.
Game on.
Eventually got the win 4-2. Only averaged 81.55 in the process.
100.
Bounced back well though with that 101.
140.
How long is he going to keep us waiting for his 50th max of the week? Bullseye of 180s.
He didn't leave us waiting long in his last game. He hit one with the first 3 darts. Didn't even manage to get me words out. Trying to big him up. set him up for the 180s. He beat me to it.
$96. $140.
140 needs the 170.
60.
Doesn't have to go for it.
Gary,
So 6 at this.
170.
All about board management here. Another one of those leaves 36.
96.
Graham can find a couple of trebles here. There could be problems. It's a little think. He wants 65. 25 for tops.
170. Gary requires 74.
Normally the way.
$42.
Opportunity.
I was going to say, maybe it
Graham,
doesn't
you
matter,
require
but
15.
no, it might.
Game show on the second leg. Graham Usher.
Consolidates the break with a 17-dart hold to Mr. The Double off the 74.
So, like, it's Gary to throw first.
I feel like this is a good time to mention that when Graham Usher finished bottom of Group A, winning just 3 of his matches,
59.
the weekly betting moved Graham Usher to 18 to 1.
97.
If anyone out there kept the faith with Graham Usher, you are going to be getting quite excited about now.
99.
Absolutely. 2 legs away from a place in tonight's
140.
final against James Richardson. Another player who was in all sorts of trouble.
41.
Only squeaked in.
But what an advert for looking forward. An advert for not letting the short-term
58.
answers affect the long-term outcome. So Graham Usher, bottom of Group A. James Richardson squeaking
60.
in with the lowest average by some distance. And that could be the final.
60.
Bizarre twists and turns of our sport. Which is why it keeps us all so hooked.
140. Graham, you've got 146.
Goes back to that old expression, doesn't it? When you think you know the answers, they've changed
65.
the questions.
Gary, you've got 102. $82.
Big
Graham, you
moment.
require 81.
Huge. This is massive.
Game show on the third
Usher
leg.
certainly has the
Graham Usher.
answers. Because that's another misstart at a double. Gary Stone could well find
Fourth leg,
him,
it's Graham
found
to throw
himself
first.
2-1
Game
up.
on.
In fact, he finds himself 3-0 down and in all sorts of trouble.
60.
That's a double break of throw for Usher. Gary has to win them all from here.
I think a telling sign here.
119.
But that Gary Stone has not yet got a max.
No.
Another interesting
45.
little number is that checkout percentage of Graham Usher. 3 from 3. You're not going to be missing a double. I think you're
140.
extremely hard to beat.
Yeah, by comparison, Stone's had 3 at a double and not found one.
100.
In fairness to him, it's not like they were a million miles away.
100.
Isn't it funny when you sort of said, you know, you're in this situation, you're like, oh well, it's just not going to happen for me. And
100.
the
Gary,
shoulders open,
142.
play with freedom, and now he's producing some of his best starts in this semi-final.
102.
Perfect. Tops after 12.
He has had a few darts at double. He's had 3 so far.
60.
Not converted any,
Gary
but
required 40.
absolutely loves this tops. He's been pinging it all
Game
week.
show on the fourth
And
leg.
you just sort of
Gary
expected
Stone.
that Gary Stone was about to put his first leg on the board, and most importantly, it's a breaker throw. And when you're 3-0 down
Fifth
in the
leg, it's
semi-final,
Gary to
it's
throw
easy just to
first.
accept your
Game
fate.
on.
Gary Stone, a 13 dart leg there to break the throw.
He's just got to keep that mentality and just try and play with freedom.
96.
Easier said than done.
Freedom whilst trying to attack.
100.
Such a weird thing, isn't it, when you say you're looking for relaxation and concentration at the same time.
100.
Sums up darts perfectly.
$140. 58.
Is that the beginning of the end?
125.
That is a great recovery. If the first dart goes in 5, Gary Stone's probably thinking, I've got away with one here. And fires in a couple of treble 20s, and that's when you start feeling like it's not your night.
Well, we know what Gary Stone can
96.
do.
Gary,
Graham Usher on 147.
History has a habit of repeating itself. Not on this occasion. That could be the last real sort of competitive dart that Gary Stone throws in this, because Graham Usher is yet to miss a dart at a double in this match.
That was a wry smile. He was thinking about it.
87. Graham, you record 40.
13 was a magic number for Gary Stone in breaking Graham Usher to keep this game going.
Game
But
shot
it is
of the
game
match.
over.
Graham Usher.
Graham Usher has got himself through to the final with victory over Gary Stone, 4 legs to 1, and he will be taking on James Richardson for the £5,000 pot. Stay tuned, because that game is coming in around about 5 minutes' time.
This is the MODUS Super Series. $180.
Welcome back to the action here at the MODUS Super Series. We have our finalists in place now. We'll have a look at the stats from that second semi-final now. Chris Mason has joined me. He's been commentating on the action this evening. That was a pretty good display, wasn't it, from Graham Usher?
Yeah, again, rock solid. He just seems to be able to find a way to find another gear when he really needs it, and it's one of those, a bit more disappointment for Gary Stone on finals night. But overall, he has thrown some great stuff, and again, it's all about, I suppose, preparation for Q School.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. Let's just talk a little bit more about the evening as a whole. Who do you think leaves here the most disappointed?
Probably Gary Stone, the way he's played, the way he played in the previous match, that 101.48 average. He looked the man to beat. Obviously, we know the quality of Graham Usher. We've seen it from him time and time again. 9 darters, big averages. But yeah, Gary Stone and probably Josh Payne again. We just didn't quite see that full package all put together.
Yeah, we're going to have a look, talk more about the final ahead of it, but we're going to move along to what's going on in this series overall now, because it's not just the privilege of winning, the glory, the kind of bragging rights, not even just the £5,000 that they're playing for. It's more than that. We saw Conan Whitehead pick up £20,000 at Champions Week, and we're in Series 2, and here are the players that have already made it through to Champions Week this time around. Now, one of these players tonight will join them, but there are a few good names there, aren't there, Chris? Alexander Merckx, one of them, winning early.
Yeah, Jim McEwen as well, of course. He's another player that's on the list, and yeah, I think it must be a nice relief for early doors just to get that qualification out of the way and know it's in the bank. But of course, there will be a few of them that will eventually miss out because of going to Q School. But yeah, the lineup, we're pretty much, well, we're going to be halfway there after tonight's action, and yeah, plenty to play for. None more so than £20,000, and that £20,000, of course, is huge, especially going forward into next year, because it takes the pressure off playing in all the events and sort of costing everything into playing on the tour for a year, irrelevant whether it's Pro Tour or Challenge Tour or ADC. Having that money in the bank gives you that lovely bit of security.
Yeah, Justin Smith, Colin Osborne and Jamie Kelling, the other players through as well. Out of those players, who would you look at right now as the one that would be most likely to emerge and maybe not win it, but at least make it through to the Saturday?
Yeah, I like the look of Justin Smith. I think he's super talented. It's lots of 180s. He has levels to his game, which we've seen many times before. He had a little bit of a dip, but that sport in form, you know, form is everything, isn't it? And we know that in all sports, players just go through peaks and troughs of form. Colin Osborne, you always know what you're pretty much going to get from him. Jim McEwen, rock solid, very steady pace, very, very hard to beat. And Alexander Merckx, who came in really as a bit of an unknown. Everybody else we certainly knew plenty of, and including last week's winner, Jamie Kelling. It's good to see him throwing some good stuff again.
Yeah, so James Richardson or Graham Usher will join them, and then we'll be back from Monday with another batch of 12 players fighting it out to make it through to finals night. Here they are, and there are some pretty big names here. So we've got Adam Atkinson, the ADC qualifier, Ben Robb, who's going to play at the World Championship, Kieran Tian, who's won here before,
Raymond Smith, another one who had a wonderful run to the quarters of the Worlds from, again, absolutely nowhere, and he will be back at Ali Pali this month.
Yeah, and Danny Van Tripe as well. We saw him hit a 9-darter back in Southampton.
Prakash Jiwa won the Indian qualifier. He's another one that will be at the Worlds in a couple of weeks' time. And, of course, Valen Sherrick makes her return here. She played on our opening night here, didn't she, when we moved to this new venue. And yeah, she's been through a fairly bizarre couple of weeks and taken a fair bit of stress along the way, and I think she'll be pleased just to get back on the dartboard and play darts and try and sort of just have a moment away from all the attention, some of it positive, some of it negative.
Yeah, there are some big names. Fallon Sherrick, the biggest of them. Some argue that she's the biggest in world darts at the moment. But some players that kind of go under the radar here do well at the Super Series. Chaz Barstow, another one that often performs here.
Favourite to win the week already. I think he was priced up at a short 7-2 to win the week. He's not been that great his last couple of visits here, but we know he's another player that he's one of those that once he gets on a roll and he starts playing well, he can then carry that through. But yeah, real tough lineup. A lot of players with a lot of experience, a lot of players on debut here, which is always nice to see. And again, a great opportunity. We've seen how good it was for Matt Campbell 12 months ago, didn't we, coming here? And he won just before going into the Worlds, and then went on, of course, to get a tour card. So it's huge.
Let's focus on the finalists because they're on the stage ready to play behind us now. And it is Graham Usher against James Richardson. Now, Richardson produced a brilliant performance in that semi-final, didn't he? He got the better of Van Veen with this 11-darter. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, I heard you, of course, chatting to Matt earlier, and my phrase, if your name's on pot, lad, and he is sort of playing like his name's on the pot. He could have gone out if the results wouldn't have gone his way a little earlier, and then all of a sudden produces some of the quality darts we know he's capable of, no more so than with 11-darter there to get it done. And yeah, it's almost like he's free rolling, and a player that's free rolling is always a dangerous player to beat because, you know, they don't feel like they can lose.
And we just saw Usher winning there as well. The gambler might feel a bit like that as well himself because he had a poor start to the week, lost his first 5 matches, in fact. So they're going to be coming to this final with a similar feeling, aren't they?
And they've both done that year before, of course, at the Super Series. Both gone on mad streaks of unbeaten runs and then losing 5 on the spin. I think that's just the nature of the mentality. You use that first one and you tend to get a little bit bogged down. But yeah, both will be probably wondering how they've got in the final. I think with Usher, he has improved day on day on day and got better and better and better. And has he timed his run to perfection?
Well, let's see. The pot, as Chris Mason calls it, is £5,000 and a place at Champions Week. And it's Richardson against Usher in the company of this man and Matthew Edgar.
£5,000 to the winner, 2.5 to the runner-up. One more game. More game for Graham Usher, who has been here from the very start. He joined us on Monday. As the lads are just saying, it didn't start well, but it's grown as the week has gone on. He hit a low on Wednesday when he finished bottom of the group, went out to 18-1 for the week. So if you kept the faith with Graham Usher,
to throw first. Game on.
You were an avid fan and you knew that he could turn it around and produce. There was plenty of value there because he's one game away from landing those monstrous odds. James Richardson, much better tonight. In every aspect, he had that game earlier when he hit 10 140s. He's hitting the maxes, he's taking out the doubles. This has all the ingredients to be a quality final.
43.
Well, both have come through some adversity. It's just all about who clicks for the next 10,
60.
Maybe, well, I hope 15 minutes or so, because it means it's going to go to the wire.
Yeah, essentially everything I've just said is kind of rendered irrelevant, other than the fact that there's £5,000 to the winner, £2,500 to the runner-up, because it doesn't matter now what happened in Group A, in Group B, in Group C. It doesn't matter what happened in the semi-final. It doesn't matter what happened in our little mini-groups.
41.
None of that matters. The only thing that matters is the next 10 minutes and who can produce.
100.
Well, we know both can come back from adversity because they've done it in front of our very eyes.
60.
Graham Usher lost his opening game of the night. James Richardson lost his second game and had to rely on the results going his way, which they did.
$85. Graham, you've required 24. Game shot on the first leg. Graham Usher.
Graham with a solid enough 17-dart hold in leg 1.
Second leg is James to throw first.
He was 4 from 6 on the doubles in his semi-final. He's carrying on that trend in this one.
85.
And the thing is, when you're playing in a final, earlier on in the week you go 1-0 down, you've got the throw, and it just all becomes a bit of a blur. When you're in the final, all of these moments go so under the microscope that you feel every single little
43.
twist and turn within the match.
You can end up over-analysing every visit rather than every leg.
100.
Like you always say, it's about the bigger picture.
That is the first
180.
180 of this final goes the way of James Richardson.
100.
Only 30 in front, despite the max.
100.
That was a huge final dart. Gotta go for an 18.
95.
Well, that was
James, you require
super risky.
93.
Suppose that last dart from James Richardson just further confirms what I was saying about every dart becomes under
75.
the microscope. Every
Maybe
moment just becomes bigger.
128.
Treble 20 and bull. Well, the 18's blocked, so bull's the shot.
92.
Ow. Has
James,
that
you
gone in
require
there?
18.
Loves double four.
Game shown the second leg. James Richardson.
Response is an 18 dart hold of his own for Richardson. And unsurprisingly,
Feel like it's Graham
it
to
is a
throw
level game.
first.
We spoke about the short-term gain.
60.
£5,000. But there's a long-term prize on this as well, the £20,000 prize that goes to the winner of Champions Week. Graham Usher came so close to scooping that last time. He got himself all the way through Champions Week, all the way to the final, and lost out to Conan Whitehead. How we'd love another opportunity to scoop the big 20.
Oh. It just puts a whole different spin on your year, especially for players at this level. The difference of
95.
being able to take the time off work to attend different events and not have that pressure and the thought of, right, I've turned down guaranteed money. And taking that gamble, that I know he's called the gambler, but that gamble's taken away, isn't it?
The first thing I'd say when you first go professional is it just becomes a bit nicer, because normally you have to go to work, you get up early, you go to work, you do your job, you come back, and then you know you've got to put a couple of hours practice in when you get back, and it sometimes can feel like a chore. Where with this you can manage your day when you're earning the prize money to go full time. It just allows you to manage your day for when you put that practice in.
40.
Like you say, when you do practice, you feel fresh. You want to practice. I know you practice a lot with Kevin Painter, didn't you? And you set up those practice days, and you almost prep for them, and you get your mind right for the days, and your only focus is the darts.
Game shown the third leg.
Nothing wrong.
Graham Usher.
Graham's focus there, his second 17 darter of the final.
Fourth leg, it's
But it
James
also
to throw
depends what
first.
type of job you do
Game
as
on.
well. Yeah. If you've got like an office job, it'll be quite mentally challenging to the point where you just want to switch off a little bit. It's hard to focus on doing a physical fine motor skill that you've got with darts, or you've got the total opposite end of there. If you're
140.
working on a brickyard, for example, and you're lugging them blocks around all day, and then you come back and you're trying to throw a 20-gram bit of tungsten into a tiny little treble.
140.
Dart players that do come from that sort of industry or trade.
140.
Still very much a working class sport, of course.
83. $180. James, you've got 155.
Third maximum of the game, 2-1 to Graham Usher, which is actually the scoreline in the match as well. So we might be about to extend that.
131. Graham, you've got 41.
2 legs, 3-1, a break, a throw, all on the line, double 16.
Game shown the fourth leg. Graham
Anyone
Usher.
who kept the faith with Graham Usher and took that 18-1 is getting mightily excited right now.
Fifth leg,
It
it's
was a
Graham
brilliant
to
shot
throw
from
first.
Richardson to leave the 24 after 12, but
85.
Graham Usher gets the leg done in 12.
$100. 140. 11.
That 11 could be the beginning of the end for James Richardson, because
59.
Graham Usher has already got a bit of a lead in this one. James, you need a max.
Yep. It's already had one in the final. 140's minimum.
100.
73 adrift. Plus these. Are they both in? 97 left.
177. 100. Graham, you require 40.
For the match. For the title.
20.
Going to make us wait.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to miss that, because there was only the pressure of winning, because Richardson back on 190.
80. Graham, you
Only
require
down
20.
to 110. Gets it done this time. Wraps it up with a 16-darter. Winning legs in the final for Graham Usher at 17-17. That beautiful 12-dart breaker throw in leg 5. A 177 in the final leg of the match, and gets it done in 16 darts. An end average of 96.119, Matt. I mean, it was around 100, wasn't it, before those missed darts at the end?
Yeah, and really it was non-effective, was it, really? When you look at what Graham Usher did at the end of the game, he missed those 3 darts. He pulled down the average from the 100 mark, but it didn't really matter too much in reflection of the functional finishing, because James Richardson was nowhere near in that leg. He was back on the 190, so it allowed him that opportunity, and Graham Usher is now your champion and £5,000 richer.
7 hours.
Ah, lovely. Well, Graham, incredible week, incredible night. What a way to end it. And I know it's a family affair for you this evening as well.
Yeah, my son and his girlfriend and his mother-in-law's come down, so that means a lot for them to travel all the way from Scarborough today, 7-hour trip. That's got me through, but what a roller coaster from Monday.
Yeah, you lost your first 5 matches on Monday. 3 of the matches in Group A, 15 matches, 3 of them were won. How on earth did you turn it around?
Again, I know he's not going to be happy about this, but Gary Stone, he just sort of took me one side and said, look, you've got another go again. Let's go on Thursday. Let's play in the final together. You know, Josh, he's a stablemate, so it's nice to play Josh as well. But, you know, obviously getting Gary in the semi-final, it wasn't easy, but there's no friends up here. Down the back, in the back room, we played, you know, practice and have a bit of a laugh and a joke. But on here, it's unbelievable. I just can't believe I've come through after Monday, Tuesday, and won it, Chris, to be honest.
You're the first player to make it through to both Champions Week since we've been here at the Super Series as well. You got to the final then. Do you feel you've got a score to settle, having got so close but not taken that first title?
Yeah, Conan played well in the final. He had a lot of support in the crowd, but it's always nice to sort of get back and give it a second chance, really. And yeah, why not? Let's give it. Yeah, bring it on.
There's one thing that Matt Egg has been talking about a lot in commentary this week as well, so I wanted to bring it with you. It's throwing darts with both hands. Seen you do it in practice. Is it something that you actually ever would employ in a match if the circumstances were right?
Definitely. So I've done it a couple of matches where I've covered double 16 and my darts sort of lay like that. So I'll throw right-handed. It just opens the bed up a little bit, but a bit different on me, because if you miss it or in marking, he's not going to be very happy. But yeah, definitely. I'll practice right-handed. Just then, when I switch back to left, it switches me back on. It just works.
Well, you're through to Champions Week. You might need both hands to lift that big check as well at the end of it.
Fingers
That's the
crossed.
aim, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well done.